Ladies and gentlemen, you have waited all week.
Yeah, Boogie Page. Throwing it down for All Things BMX is ready. I know I am. Just hack the ATB Airways. Let's kick it. All Things BMX. It's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. Like and subscribe, kick back and relax. Said it's All Things BMX. It's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. All Things BMX is streaming to you. So post up on your couch, screencast to YouTube. It's gonna be fun, it will be a blast. You gotta do much but kick back and relax. They coming to you live from a studio, or they might be at the track, man, you never know. So don't go anywhere when my rhymes are done, cause the show's just starting, let's have some fun. I said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. I said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. All Things BMX got the boogeyman's back, so I wrote them this track to send some love back. JT, Melissa, Chris, and Paul, DJ Damon, kinda get it, entertain y'all. And I wonder who they'll have on the show as a guest. I bet someone good who's gonna impress. Guess I would just have to wait and see. Let's get the show going and start the party. Said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. Like and subscribe, kick back and relax. Said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax.
All right, welcome into the All Things BMX Show. We hope you're ready for episode 157. We got West Coast Nick in the house this evening. Nick Valencia is going to be joining us. It's going to be a good time tonight. And as always, want to give our shout outs. And he's going to be joining us on the Danger Snack satellite video feed. Danger Snack. It's the snack that makes the difference between hauling ass
and
draggin ass. Make sure you guys get over to the website. If you're going to order, you can use Shit Show for your discount. I don't know what the discount is. I can't remember. 10, 15%.
I think it's 10.
It's just fun to put the discount in. Our opening song is brought to you by Boogeyman himself. We're going to put the links in there so you can check him out. He's got some other BMX songs you can go check out. You guys can support the show by checking out our Buy Me a Coffee page. And during the show, you can hit send with stars. All that comes into the show and helps us out buying new equipment and keeping things up to date here.
Keeping things moving around.
That's
here.
right. The Michigan studio is brought to you by our good friends at Desoto BMX. The show's chat is sponsored by BMX Rocks Photography. And a big shout out to Organized Chaos, Michigan-based team over on the west side. They got the shout out of the night at the beginning of the show. Our chat question that's brought to you by our good friends at BMX Rocks Photography. This is a good one.
It is interesting.
It's an interesting one.
We're curious to see what people feel about that.
We might end up with fights. We could end up with fights. All right, your chat question for this evening is: Joris Daudet going to finish his career as the greatest BMX racer of all time? Yes or no? And if you say no, who do you think?
Yeah. Should we
If
say
he wins this
male?
year, if he wins this year,
yeah,
I got to go with him as being.
Well, what's
sort
he
of
got?
Michael Jordan of all
4?
You know,
Has he got 4?
Yeah,
4 cups.
4 or 5. Oh, shit, ton.
See, that's how bad I am. I don't even remember now.
Well, there's always a lot more
Hey,
things.
it's impressive. I'll say that. You know.
Nope, Damon didn't get fired. He's actually off this evening. He had some plumbing things to fix.
Yeah, he had
I left him an upper decker. BMX Newsmakers brought to you by 110 Nutrition. Melissa's world famous trivia is brought to you by Bombshell. If you guys haven't, get over there, check them out. And the showcase is brought to you by Answer. DJ Damon, who's he's not here, but he's always brought to you by Hotshop BMX Racing. Birthday shout outs that Chris murders your name on. Brought to you by our good friends over at On Two Wheels. Dude, you got some doozies.
Oh, great.
But
you haven't been talking to Mike Miranda again, have you?
No.
Good. Okay.
Nope.
Just checking.
No. But I did sneak in a celebrity's name.
A celebrity?
A celebrity's name. We're going to see who can pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I got
You're
one.
not going to. I can already tell you that right
I
now.
got one to add to it, too. So.
All right. The show's opening is brought to you by the people at Gate 9. Chris, let them know where they can watch and listen.
All right. Live version of the show, live streaming version of the show, I guess I should say, is brought to you by Mega Design Group. So, you guys go to these big races and you see all these tents with people's bike companies' names on them, or if you got a local team or something and you need a tent made up like that, get a hold of Mega Design Group. Brian Fell will take care of you. He'll design it up for you. You'll get a proof and the whole 9 yards. So check them out. Also, the podcast version of the show is brought to you by Dye Job Apparel. They do any kind of custom printing your logo on just about anything and race jerseys. So get a hold of Sean over at Dye Job Apparel. And with that, we'll bring in our guest, Mr. Nick Valencia.
Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it. Let me soak up some of your time.
Not a problem.
Pleasure to have you on.
Now we can see that Supercross t-shirt.
There we go. Hey, this is a question we ask all our guests, and we're going to start off with this one. Is you tell us how you found the sport of BMX racing.
Oh, that's an easy one for me. I started racing when I was 12 years old. I was living in a town called Eloy, Arizona, which is pretty much dead center between Tucson and Phoenix, Arizona. We were in like a church youth group, so there's probably like 10 or 15 of us kids, and a kid named Tommy just happened to go down to Tucson, raced, and kind of just the same way that everybody gets into it. He brought back to youth group a trophy from like the first time he went out, and we were all enamored by the little trinket of a trophy he got. And we had already kind of ridden around the neighborhood with our bikes a lot anyway, so it was just kind of taking it to an organized track, and went out to Tucson and raced. That track's no longer there, but it was called Ram BMX back in 1997 was when I started, and kind of just never looked back and been racing the entire time. I went to Grands that first year in 97. That was the last year it was at the Myriad in Oklahoma City, and just kind of been plugging along ever since.
Wow. What was, if you had any sponsors along the way, like a bike shop or something when you first started out?
So I raced pretty much between that track in Tucson, Ram BMX, and then Chandler BMX was my other home track. So I rode there probably the first 10 years that I was riding. Old team now, but at the time it was like a big national vendor. Bob Bauer from Bauer Bikes, blue and black jerseys. They were a big Arizona team, and they just kind of would vend all the West Coast races and things like that. And they were partnered up with UFO, the old bike company that's no longer around. So I rode for Bauer Bikes and UFO for a few years, and then just kind of local teams, local sponsors, things like that, and then did a couple years with Psychopath, which was a local team as well, and we kind of ran like a big national team, had a couple of foreign people. Augusto Castro went to the '08 Olympics. He was on our team, did some team management stuff for them, and then I had always been friends with Bill Ryan pretty much the entire time, and then probably it's been about 7 or 8 years now. I was talking with my friend Melissa. She was doing all the team management stuff for Supercross, and she's always been like, well, why don't you just get on the team, ask Bill? And I had always thought if Bill wanted me on the team, he would ask me, and Bill was under the interpretation that if I wanted to be on the team, I would ask him. So she kind of put us together, and we made a bet at it was a Vegas indoor race. I think I was in 2635 expert at the time. She was like, promise me if you podium this weekend, you'll ask Bill. And I said, all right, sounds good. So sure enough, I did pretty good that weekend, podiumed, and I just slapped a resume together and sent it over to Bill. And he's like, man, I've been waiting for this to happen for so long. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, and it gets kind of tricky, right? Because if you're friends with somebody for so long, maybe you don't want to kind of move the relationship into a sponsor, thing like that, but it's worked out super good. I trust him with everything. He trusts me a good bit, and I mean, if anything, it just made us even closer. And then I try to help him as much as I can with team stuff, some of the Supercross social media stuff, team management duties when Melissa can't carry all the weight. Anything that falls over, I kind of just try to help out and kind of just carry my weight around there with the team. So I've been real happy with them. And then just pretty much that's it. Supercross and Fly Racing. Ray Hudson at Fly has always been super good to not only myself, but the team. So that's kind of been it for a good bit.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Oh man,
Wow.
Supercross got some really nice stuff.
It's
Just
Chris's
saying.
favorite, by the way, Nick.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's my
yeah,
deal.
it's definitely quality stuff. It's not the cheapest, so that's kind of always the one thing that's kind of the drawback. But I tell everybody, I'm like, you can buy a couple things and they'll not last you as long, or you can just kind of do it right the first time. And
Yep.
like a lot of the stuff we do there, I tell people all the time, like when you think of Supercross, you think of the high-end carbon stuff, but it's like that aluminum, the RS7 frame, and they're doing the RSX frame this year. Like that stuff's pretty much along the same price point as anybody else's aluminum offerings out there, and it's quality stuff. So it's sometimes I think it sometimes gets viewed as like a boutique brand and just doing only the super tier high end carbon stuff. But I mean, they definitely have a lot of offerings at different price points, so it kind of works out. There's usually a little something for everybody.
Sure. Yep. Definitely.
Perfect spokesman for
Yeah.
Supercross.
Knows what he's saying.
Very nice. Very nice.
Like it.
So everybody watching, listening right now, if you guys got questions, jump into the chat, put them in there. We'll be checking in with Melissa here in a few, and we'll be passing along the questions you have for Nick. And if you've got stories you want to share, you want to try to embarrass them, put them in there. We'll pass them along. What's your current home track right now that you race at?
So pretty much right now I'm kind of nomad. I don't ride my local track obviously, but the closest track to me is Manzanita Park BMX. It's about an hour and 10 minutes outside in Prunedale, California. If you're not familiar where that is, it's kind of near Monterey. It's an old NBL track. Used to host like NBL National stuff, but it's a good little program. It's a pretty small program, but they got some hardworking volunteers there, and it's kind of always growing just a little bit. It's not a huge track, like I said, but it's good downhill, fun, paved turns. So I have a good time out there, and that's pretty much my closest track and the only one that I can really get to between work and traffic. I can just usually, if I can get down there Sunday mornings to ride their Sunday morning race, that's usually where you can find me.
Very cool. Speaking of work, where do you work at? What kind of work do you do?
So I work in a biotech industry, basically. So that's the easiest way to say it. When I try to explain it to people, I say, if you remember when you were watching Jurassic Park and they were like making the dinosaurs out of the little mosquito and all that, that's pretty much what we do here. My role at the company is I basically just spend money. I'm purchasing leads. So I do contract negotiations, just basically buying stuff, whether it be robots, chemicals, things like that. Basically anything that comes in the building, I'm the one who kind of cuts the check for it or runs a credit card and kind of keeps the place floating, supply chain wise, materials, things like that.
Sounds like power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money is power.
That's kind of the same thing I do. So you and I can talk later.
Yeah, there you go.
We talk shop.
There you go.
Wow.
All
That's
right.
pretty cool.
How long you been there?
I've been at this job here for about 8 years. Before here, I worked for City of San Jose, which is just north of me. Did Parks and Rec for them for about 10 years. So I kind of have a lot of public facing, public service pointing to all my different things. And then between that, I worked at basically a regional hospital that's in this area doing kind of supply chain inventory analyst type stuff. So that's kind of how I became into supply chain purchasing and things like that. And that kind of just trickled me right into this gig.
Great.
Nice.
Oh, I like it. And that's where you are right now.
Yeah, so we're hanging out at work. It's like the quiet, nice space. The Wi-Fi's good, so it definitely worked out.
Computer's working out.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's always good.
That's where those fancy gamer headphones came in.
Those are cool.
Nice.
So, all right, let's try this. What's your favorite track you've ever been to?
Favorite track ever would probably be the World's track in '07 in Canada, which is still a functioning track. It's Victoria, British Columbia, so it's on the island over there. And I know it's still a functioning track. It's probably not the same as it was, but it was a good track, and it's probably one of the best tracks that I saw that elites could do big style jumps, and the amateurs could do like a double in, double out, where an elite would just kind of quad the whole thing. So it just had probably the best balance of, if you were going fast as you could, you didn't have to let up at all. And if you were kind of just going amateur fast, it had lines that kind of worked for you as well. And then my second favorite would probably be Woodward Park in Fresno, California. They've got a real nice downhill track. That's real good, real technical, and like I said, it's downhill, so it's fast, so the legs aren't as taxed.
Huh. Well, hey, that's always a good thing when you get to be a little older, especially like myself. I mean, yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite national you've ever been to?
Favorite national would probably be, I'd say Nashville, and that one's coming up next weekend.
Yeah.
Biggest reason I love Nashville, because you can get downtown, whatever, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like 4th Street Live or whatever. There's like an area downtown where it just kind of shuts down. There's a bunch of like music clubs and things like that. And that race didn't used to be as big as it is now. So back in the day, you could get out of the track at a decent time, go down there, get dinner, hang out with some friends, things like that. I know that race lately has been going pretty late at night, so it's probably people are not seeing as much as Nashville as they could. But yeah, I've always had a good time at that race. Or Louisville NBL Grands is always kind of special to me. That one's always been a good time as well. And again, another downhill track.
Yeah.
So usually if a track's downhill, I'm usually a fan of it. But yeah, that one just it's in a nice park setting, so it's kind of chill. There's a lot of space out there, and kind of just still has that NBL park vibe. Everybody can kind of hang out, no big deal. It's real nice and relaxed. So
yeah, there was a difference back in the day, the ABA versus the NBLs. They're a little different, but hey, I don't know. That'll get people arguing about stuff. I'm not gonna go in there, but no, they're both cool. Well, now they're all the same, so it doesn't matter. It's all USA BMX nowadays, so it's all good.
yeah.
Never let go, Chris. Never let go. Maybe you can get a chance starting with Rick at another race.
Do you race a lot of nationals, Nick?
So normally I don't, because usually I'm running a track, so that kind of eats up a bunch of my time. So I just kind of will take care of the local track before being selfish and racing myself. But
Sure.
with this year, I had quite a bit of time. So I started out the year. I went to Virginia as the first race of the year, and went to that Las Vegas race because that was going to kind of be that last hurrah. So I got out and did a bunch of races early in the year and kind of had some success and stacked up a bunch of nag plates. So I've kind of kept the foot on the gas, just figuring this may be the last year that I can get kind of a bunch of races kind of in the bag before I start up on my next track venture. So typically on a normal year, I'll do 5 or 6 races. I've probably done 6 or 7 already, and we'll probably still do a couple more. I see the Desoto logo on there. I'm going to get down to there and go see Chris at the end of the year. And now I usually will just book a race if it's a city that I like to go to, or there's some people that I know that live out there. Now, not so much about the racing, but just kind of getting out, having some experiences, visiting some friends, and if the race goes good, great. If not, no big deal.
Sounds like family home life is a little busier these days too.
Yeah. So I got little Olivia. She just turned 2. So now the tricky part is, if I want to go to a race, like finding a babysitter, making sure that's all taken care of. So the dynamic definitely changes a little bit, but it's still fun to kind of get out there and get to as many races as I can. And then I'm sure as the years go by, I'll start seeing the baby with me a little bit more when she gets a little bit more self-sufficient. So.
Right. When you had said she's kind of headed towards that Strider, huh?
Yeah. She's definitely, I'd say I'd give it about probably 4 to 6 weeks and she'll be on the Strider. She's got like a little training one going already that has like a quad wheels on it, so it kind of does the balance already. But yeah, she's already kind of got the concept of scooting around the house. So yeah, it won't be much longer for sure.
That's amazing.
Does Bill have a Strider in the works for you?
Oh yeah, we've had a hot pink Strider in the garage from day one.
Nice.
My good friend Kim that helps me with a lot of the track stuff, that was like literally the first gift that showed up. So yeah, so the people were not gonna let me get by without her getting one for sure.
No, I like it, especially pink.
Oh yeah.
You had mentioned the TO role. What for those that don't know, you were previously TO of Santa Clara Pale. How many years were you there?
So we pretty much ran that track, I'd say a good 8 years total. And with 2 of those years being kind of build up and just kind of getting it together, like a lot of tracks, it had been kind of neglected, just could use a little bit of a refresher and kind of catching up with the times. So yeah, we ran it for about 8 years, and I'd say about 6 of them it was kind of firing on all cylinders and just really definitely kind of making its own strides and stuff. And that's out in Santa Clara, California, so kind of the Bay Area in California, just north of or actually south of San Jose. And like I said, not too far from Oakland, San Francisco, but basically like we had a big rider draw in the Bay Area. And then, like I said, just between marketing and hard work, we kind of had that place going pretty well for a good number of years.
Right.
That's great. Great.
What what drew you to be in a TO?
So what happened was, and the way it started was a good friend of mine, Alex Fowler. He has a company called Action Sports Construction. They do a lot of pump tracks and things like that. And they're kind of under a couple different banners. So they do a lot of contract work as well for other people. So he had gotten a contract to rebuild the local track. So he called me and was like, "Hey, are you still riding PAL a lot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm out there pretty often." So he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna rebuild it. Do you want to help out with the rebuild?" So I went down there and helped him with the rebuild, met the TO and the current crew at the time. And a bunch of them had remembered me from back in the day. I'd been riding freestyle for a bit, so I just wasn't racing as much and not so much at the local track. So they had asked me like, "Hey, you're going to help with the rebuild. Do you want to help with, just some of the programming, things like that?" And so in meeting with them, I was like, "Hey, I have a little bit of time right now. I just starting this new job. It's not nearly as busy as my hospital job. So if you guys want, like, if you really want to kind of take this thing next level, I've got the time. Let's give it a go." They were all for it. I don't know that they knew exactly how crazy we were going to get and how much we were going to grow it, but they were kind of all for it and like, "Yeah, if you're willing to do the work, have at it." And so yeah, they kind of brought me in with open arms. And funny story is, I was on paper, I was never actually the TO, but I just had done so much and kind of the face of it that everybody just assumes I was a TO.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, once we kind of got going, we got that rebuild done. We put in an Onyx barrel gate, we paved some turns, and then we just kind of started doing promos and a lot of giveaway type stuff. Took us about 2 years. We won our state final from a track that had the state final for like 20, 30 years, something like that. And then I got in touch with the guys at the sanction, and the good part was, by growing up in Arizona and starting my race career in Arizona, I knew a lot of people at the sanction that I'd just known for 20 years.
Right.
I just hadn't seen them. So once we kind of started growing PAL and it was all working a lot organically, I kind of got a hold of them and said, "Hey, we've won the state final. We've done these regional races, things like that. Our state final that year was the biggest state final like in history, et cetera, et cetera." And so I told them, I was like, logically, the next thing is, if we're the #1 track in the country, like, why can't we get a national? And they were like, "Well, let's fly out and check it out and we'll see what we can do." So Chris Luna flew out. We did a weekend there, kind of showed him how we operate everything, kind of gave him a lay of the land. He saw the space and was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we got a RFP together, got a national, and then we ran the national probably 3 or 4 years and kind of just kept going from there. So it kind of, like I said, it hit traction and just got rolling.
Wow.
Nice.
That's that's one thing I try to make a point of this when we talk to someone like this. You said RFP. So for folks that may not know this, to get a national at your track, when those national schedules come out and people lose their mind, why didn't they put a race here? Why didn't they put a race there? Because the tracks have to present a proposal to the sanction to hold a national at their track.
Whoa. You mean to tell me it's just not played by favorites?
No,
like everyone says, and no hold bars?
No, it's not. So, so when somebody goes, "I can't believe they even put a national in Michigan." Well, it's very possible no track in Michigan submitted a proposal for a national.
I don't believe this.
I'm just throwing that out there so people know that, because it drives me a little bonkers because they don't realize that. So no, they don't just go, "Hey, let's throw one," in the.
No, wait, man. There's not a thing up there, and they just throw darts at, and that's how they pick nationals.
No.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, and the kind of the tricky part about it is when you do that, and I should even back up a little bit, that RFP, basically RFP stands for request for proposal, and that's basically saying, hey, I'm Nick Valencia and I'm the TO of Walla Walla track in Washington or wherever. This is our rider base, this is our facility, these are the upgrades we've done. We have ample parking, we have airport within 20 minutes, we've got 10 hotels that we work with. So because you can't expect the sanction to go and look at that for 300 tracks. It'd be a full-time job for somebody to go sort those out. So
Right.
what they do is they send out one email at the top of the year that says, hey, RFPs are open for 2024 season if you're interested in running a race. And they'll kind of give you the framework and the template, and then it's kind of on you. And that's one of those things that it doesn't exactly have to be a track operator that does it. Maybe you just have a mom that's really good with marketing, or maybe they can just get the data together. They can get with a sports tourism bureau or a chamber of commerce. Like, there's a bunch of different resources that they can get to kind of basically do it for them. And then it's just kind of pushing it to the sanction and saying, raising your hand and saying, hey, we're interested in taking one of those races if one is available, type thing. Because like you said, yeah, nobody's just going to up one day and just pick your track out of left field and say, hey, let's drop a national there. You know, like there could be a million things going on at your track that doesn't work for you or something, you know?
Right.
Saw your Facebook page. It looked pretty cool. Let's go put a national there.
Well, like Nick was just saying, you have to have facility. The facility has to kind of be there. You have to have parking. You have to have bleachers. You have to have hotels, restaurants within a certain range from where this is. I mean, you can't have, I don't know. I mean, shoot, a lot of these nationals now, you're pulling over 200 and some motos on a weekend. I mean, shoot, some of them are 3, but I mean, you're pulling a lot of people into a town, and you better have hotels, restaurants, the infrastructure, for lack of a better word, to handle that. So you gotta, so yeah, I guess we're dragging this out a little long, but the end game is
Chris.
tracks have to submit a proposal to the sanction to hold these national events. And it's kind of the same thing with the Gold Cups and
Same, yeah.
it's the same.
I was just about to say, yeah, Gold Cup qualifiers are the same parameter. Even when you get down to a state qualifier, every track is entitled to have a state qualifier, but I know there's definitely tracks out there that don't bother to do it for whatever reason. But yeah, it's like when you want to get those big weekends where it's a Gold Cup qualifier and a state qualifier. I just came back from one at Woodward Camp in Pennsylvania. They did a Gold Cup on Sunday and
that
a
was
state
last
qualifier
weekend
on Saturday. Yeah, so I went out there and hosted that race for the sanction. And that one, I mean, that Gold Cup qualifier, I believe we did 166 motos on Sunday.
Nice.
And the Eugene National was like 180 something motos. So it's like those Gold Cup qualifiers can grow just as big as the national, kind of depending on where you are. So it's just kind of one of those things. And again, you have to, as a track and a track operator or a parent group that's running a track, whatever it may be, you've definitely got to get involved in those conversations, because you can't be bummed that nobody picked you if you never raised your hand the correct way. So
right.
Sports associations, they're a good one.
Yeah.
And
chambers of commerce, yeah.
You get with like a tourism bureau, like Nick said, and they can write the thing for you because they have all those numbers already that they're looking for.
Yeah, and a lot of those, I mean, that's literally what those chamber of commerce and those sports tourism boards are really for. Their job is to go out and get events that bring people and bring tax dollars back in the community. I'll speak on behalf of the Bend track. I know they got a real big grant last year from their tourism board, and they kind of piggybacked off of, hey, we have the Bend local track, and yeah, the national isn't at the Bend local track, but it's USA BMX bringing that national into the town that brings that money. Can we get some of that tax revenue back into our local program? They did a huge rebuild. They're doing all new turns.
Nice.
And like they really kind of leverage that hey, the national might not be at our local track because we don't have the space, but our local track can pretty much be national caliber now on the heels of that revenue that comes in from the national. So it's good partnerships and kind of working those angles kind of gets successful for everybody.
All right. Yeah. No, it's definitely I don't know. It's just one of those things I think people aren't
realize,
aware of, especially newer people in the sport that maybe don't understand how all that works. So Yeah, I brought it up, I guess.
Yeah.
And the
I think that's a good
proposal.
point.
The RFP itself is pretty detailed.
Yes.
We were looking at it the other 2 weeks ago or something.
Yes,
I mean, it's pretty easy to go through, but
yeah, but if you didn't have like a chamber or sports commission or whatever,
just light your
you gotta
track
do
on
some
fire and
research.
find another place. You don't want to have a track there anyway. You're gonna have a track with no chamber around, you bumfuck Egypt.
Well, hey, you don't know. I don't
I've
know.
raced a couple of those tracks. You hear some banjos playing and stuff. Damon and I have been to one time.
Oh yeah,
That's why he's not here.
that's why he's not here.
Before we jump into talking about the new track you got going on and Teslas, we're going to take a quick second and jump into the chat room. We're going to jump over to Melissa and see how the BMX Rocks chat room is going. How's it hanging over there, Melissa?
Yeah, good. We want to say hi to Steve Lithgow over on YouTube. Brian Fell is joining us also on YouTube. Huck Karinsky. Robert Cardoza, also over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Rick Carter, another West Coaster, is with us. Jason Perkins is also tuned in. Gate 9, Billy, he says he's on the road to Nashville, Music City. So I would imagine, wait, it's Wednesday? Yeah, probably a lot of people are traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they want to hit Thursday practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Noah and Drake Robinson are tuning in over on YouTube.
Hey guys.
Brian said he likes Joris, but Maris is the GOAT.
Is that Olympic medals? Because Joris has got 5 cups.
Right. So I guess it depends on what you're comparing.
See?
Comparing.
That's why
Yeah.
we ask these questions.
Okay.
People need to know.
You might need to be more specific with your questions.
Well, no.
Oh, I left it vague.
Oh.
Just
Well,
for these arguments.
Does Maris have a cup? I don't believe he does.
You mean a gold medal?
No, he's got gold medal.
He's
No,
got
no.
Oh, Maris?
USA BMX #1 pro title. I don't
I really
think he
wasn't
has one.
riding back then, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't believe he does. I could be wrong. Somebody will correct us.
Hard to say. Chris Snyder says he's Counter Fields.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, if it's not George, who is it?
Right.
That's
Yeah, Rick confirmed
Right.
Joris has 5 cups. He has such a variety of titles across the world. It's ridiculous. So,
Hey.
true. Hi to Martin Kennard down there in Florida. He's saying hi to the ATB family. Todd Ditch is also tuning in over on Facebook.
Haven't
up,
heard
Todd?
that name in a while.
He said, let me scroll down here something. He said,
I was trying to figure out how many years it was from when he was over here and we did the show here that he came and joined
Wasn't
us.
he like the third show or something
I
like
was
that?
in Vegas,
Yeah.
so a year within the first year.
Mm-hmm.
He said when we had our team Blue Dog Racing, we used to buy our Psychopath bike frames from Nick. It was my favorite cruiser ever. Let's see. Craig and Kelly are tuning in. They say, "G'day, Nick." Why did I say Nate? Ooh. Oh my gosh. Hold on.
We getting birthdays early?
Yeah, Melissa found the
Reset.
vodka today.
I know. I'm sober as hell. That's the sad part.
That's a problem.
Long time
Where's
sober.
the Crown Royal? Let's get
Yeah,
her loosened
right?
up here.
A long day, apparently. Jonathan Suarez says, nice show. Thanks for tuning in, Jonathan. We appreciate you. Jim Bosco says, Ryder Murky grandfather says hi. Ryder Murky's grandfather says hi, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Must
he's
be.
on the Supercross team.
Okay.
We're going to figure out a way to get Ryder on the show.
Cool.
Oh, that's doable.
Yeah.
He's a pretty energetic kid. You
Yep.
could get him on.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Nick can probably pull some strings for us on that deal. If he's
Yeah,
a
I can make
Supercross
that
rider.
happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Get a hold of Bill. Get a hold of him.
Rick says, rumor has it Black Mountain is in need of a new TO
Gee.
there, Nick.
Oh, my God. Ouch. That wound is still fresh.
Yeah.
He's ripping the Band-Aid off. Come on.
I was curious if anybody had been on social media earlier
Yes,
today,
it
but
was hard.
clearly I wasn't the only one to read that.
Yeah, it was hard to miss. Let's
Leave it to
see.
Rick.
Oh, Low and Slow is tuning in over on YouTube. That's our buddy Chase. He says it was nice meeting Damon and Chris on Sunday.
Oh, hey. Yeah, it was cool to meet you too, buddy. That was sweet.
Okay, so Brian has clarified medals trump cups.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't. Dude,
That's his
it's,
opinion.
It's
That's
one
his opinion.
race.
Yeah, but do two medals
gotta
equal
go all-
5 cups?
You got to go all year though to win the.
Well, you still have to
national champ.
qualify for the Olympics, so that's involved.
It's one race.
Well, okay, wait. Now we could get into a little controversy here.
But against all
qualifying
the top
for the
athletes of
Olympics,
every country.
yeah, but qualifying for the Olympics in the United States is more difficult, I would assume, and I could be wrong, than qualifying for the Latvian Olympic team. So getting on the team
Man,
is
you
the
just
first
opened
job.
up a shit show right there.
I bet I did. I'm sorry, but
You're gonna get mugged leaving here.
Well, that's funny. All right, rounding out my shout-outs for this round, we're going to say hi to Miss Alice Bixler.
Hi, Alice.
Alice, we still need a date.
Yes, we need.
We want to
get,
have you on our show.
Yep.
Phone a friend. Call me.
We might have to get a hold of Irma Miller and have her push Alice to be on our show.
And Morris did qualify for the Latvian team.
Well, of course he did because he raced for it. What I'm saying is getting onto those teams, I would assume, I don't know what it would be like per capita. Or what, there's way more BMX racers in the United States versus Latvia. So it would assume then that it's more difficult to get on the U.S. Olympic team versus a different country.
Better watch it. Our Latvian neighbors is gonna gank you when you leave tonight.
Just to make it even more tricky, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Maris, like even the 08 or the 12, he was on such a tear that he basically single-handedly qualified like 3 spots for Latvia.
Yeah.
Because he was stacking so many points. So just to make it even more difficult, there's probably 2 Latvians that may have been as skilled as not all get out and basically got on the Olympics because of his hard work, because he qualified single-handedly all their positions.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's what Brian was just clarifying too. He said no, he qualified for the whole team. Like he was every spot.
So a couple people in Latvia owe him big time.
Yeah.
You know that
that's right, because your number of riders for your country is based on rider points.
Yep.
Right. It gets very confusing if you. I'm not.
It's
even
great
gonna-
reading if you can't sleep.
He made all the team.
Yeah.
He qualified all the members of that team.
From what Nick's saying is.
Yeah.
He
Brian agrees.
he
I'm still going.
compiled enough points to qualify 3 riders versus 1
Don't
or 2.
backpedal now.
No, I'm not
Damn it,
backpedaling.
it's done, dude.
Country points. Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about the points thing. But anyway, there's way more people that race pro from the U.S., I believe, than Latvia. But
You know he gets like a hell of a salary from Latvia for his gold medals.
that's the rumor, yeah, because he's gotten a gold medal. Actually, he's got 2, so he probably double dips on that deal now because he did 2. But hey, good for him, man. I'm not saying I don't like the guy. I've never met him, but he seems like a likable dude. Maybe we should get him on here sometime. He could explain it.
No, you've already pissed the entire country off.
Oh, that's right. Great.
It's over now before
We
it
get
even
hate
started.
mail from Latvia now.
That's Chris Beer.
Info at allthingsbmxshow.com.
No. I checked that email. F that. No. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Got any more in there?
No. That's it. But for now, if anybody's got any, actually, nope, I lied. One last one. We're gonna say hi to Sean Gifford, Dye Job Apparel, coming in under the wire here. Says, "What's up, fam?"
Hey, Sean.
And Mars is taken care of for life.
Yeah.
That's the rumor. Don't know if that's fact, but yes.
So if anybody's got a question for Nick as we go through, don't hesitate to put that in there, and I'll get it out. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right.
Or if you got stories,
That too.
you know you got road stories.
So let's see. So we kind of talked about you've been a track operator.
New adventures.
Now you got a new adventure going on here. What do you got going on here with this new track in Morgan Hill, California?
Yeah, so Morgan Hill is just located about 15 miles south of San Jose or Santa Clara. It's kind of all those cities are right next to each other. So it's a little bit further down the 101 freeway. So basically, when the PAL stuff kind of started to unravel, unfortunately, it was kind of writing on the wall that that was going to end not so well for things. So we kind of had our fillers out to some surrounding cities. And the first one to jump on board was Morgan Hill. So little bit of fact that not too many people know, but now we'll go ahead and let people know now is the Morgan Hill City Council actually came out to the national, to the last national that we had at PAL. Because if you remember when PAL was kind of going off the rails, we had a national and a state qualifier that I had committed to running while they figured out whatever they wanted to do. And we kind of had those events on the book. So I was like, I'm going to see it through there. And then whatever happens kind of happens after that. So in knowing that that was going to go on, it was kind of the perfect way to show a new city and kind of entice a new direction and say, hey, I've got this event. If you want to kind of see what I do and kind of see the coup de grace of it all and kind of see the circus in its full steam, we're going to have this one big event. And so unbeknownst to everybody, a couple members of the Morgan Hill City Council had come down. They were at the national, just kind of street clothes, just blending in and just kind of seeing it all in, taking it all in. That was a pretty big national. I think that one was 260, a little close to 300 motos. So followed up with them the week after, and they were kind of in disbelief. They were like, there's no way that a city's going to let a program like that or an event like that just go. And I was like, no, it's definitely on its way out, kind of thing. So if you guys are interested, we're going to be looking for a home pretty quick. They had already had a pump track approved for a location, a place called Butterfield Park. And basically what they were able to do was use it's called CEQA. It's basically just like air quality, community impact. It's like big studies that developers have to do when they want to put in amenities and things like that. So they had a pump track already approved. They just didn't have a way to fund that pump track. So they didn't really have any money to put into it. It's kind of COVID had just hit. So everybody was kind of pumping the brakes on any construction, things like that. So started working with them, meeting with them. We had some money saved up. And basically said, hey, if you guys want to give us the land, we'll do a land lease and we'll figure it out, and we can kind of foot the bill for it. Got with USA BMX, got them committed and said, hey, we're going to do this other track. We don't think the PAL thing is going to work out. They had kind of tried to keep the PAL thing going and try to keep working with PAL, and then it kind of got to the point where it was kind of going in circles and we were going to be departing no matter what. And then it was like full steam ahead. And because that CEQA report and stuff was already done for the pump track, it basically kind of fast tracked things. What would normally take a year only took about 2 weeks to just change a little bit of information on the CEQA, resubmit it. And then we started taking city council meetings, and city council was all for it. We kind of had the data was already there, the numbers were already there, and we kind of used the momentum from that last really good successful year at PAL and just kind of rode it right into that next thing. And it took about 8 months to get full city council approval, and now we're just waiting a little bit of infrastructure stuff, and we're gonna, I mean, it's sad that it happened the way that it did, but we're definitely going to be in a better spot now. We'll control all our own finances. It's going to operate under our own nonprofit, so we'll be able to control all that stuff. And then we have a 30-year lease on that property, and we'll pay for the amenities that we're putting in, a paved parking lot, a registration office, nice bathrooms, all that stuff. Basically, we'll get a bill for that, but we'll pay that monthly over the next 30 years. So it's going to come down to really just an extremely affordable payment, and we'll be able to kind of just keep going and get back to programming how we were.
Wow,
so
that's really nice.
It started off pretty sketchy, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to work out to be a better deal across the board.
And you worked out, you have flushing toilets. That's all right, man.
Yeah. So I'd always said, like, cause I mean, even at PAL, I mean, we were doing really well. We were doing 175 rider average. And we did that 3 nights a week. So we didn't offer practice nights at PAL. We just raced 3 nights a week. And then we had like a clinic night or whatever. But I always said, like, we're in the middle of the Silicon Valley. There's billions of dollars, Google, tech companies, Facebook's right up the street. And it's like, how are we still using porta potties and how are we just in dirt parking lots? And I started that when I was 12 years old. And it's like, how am I 35, 36 years old? And it's like, no infrastructure has been built here. Like, we got to get this going. So when we got into Morgan Hill, they were like, yeah, well, what do you need amenity wise? And I was like, here's my deal breaker stuff. We've got to have a paved parking lot and we've got to have flushing toilets. And like, as soon as you say that, it's like every track mom ever is like,
Yep.
yes, flushing
Amen.
For sure.
Yep. The words out of my mouth. I was just gonna say that. Like, wow, you just
Yep.
opened up your a target audience.
Yeah, it's like you want to win over all the track moms in one sentence, just say you're going to have real bathrooms. It's like
Yep.
they're automatically immediately on your sides.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That's great.
For sure.
You know.
I know it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And to have the ability to draw that out long enough that it's a comfortable payment that because you're gonna have some hiccups. Things aren't gonna jump right into 175 moto count. Who knows? Maybe they will, but starting with a good base will get you there quickly.
Yeah, and I mean where we are, we've been fortunate enough that like a lot of the ridership and that's probably the only bummer thing is because it ended so abruptly, naturally we lost a bunch of
Sure.
riders and I don't see as many people at state races and things like that. But to me there's a good core and just between like our normal programming, getting our riders back on, they'll be excited for a new track and then we're no stranger to running a beginner league, so we'll kind of get that stuff going kind of right from the start and really just trying to kind of get a kind of a jab in the arm and just get it going right as soon as possible. And then it'll also be good because a lot of the riders that weren't around to see PAL go from kind of a subpar track to a really nice track, a lot of those people are going to get to see that because when we first open, it'll just be dirt turns and things like that. So they'll kind of see it's like, oh yeah, 6 months later after we opened, they used all that money from entry fees, state races, whatever, and it went right back into the track, whether it be a barrel gate or nicer lights or paving turns, but they'll kind of see that. And we've partnered with both Supercross and J&R bicycles. We've always done a lot of give backs, gift certificates, gift cards, things like that. So we've always kind of just tried to figure out how to keep the ridership at it and keep them engaged because when you're running 3 local races a week, it tends to get a little bit stale and things like that. So we've always just kind of tried to do different promotions. We've got a theme park that's really close to us. So we'll do a series where you race 6 of the 8 races and then you get a theme park ticket. And then we rent out the theme park that day and do like a barbecue and everybody can kind of go there with their friends and the kids that they race.
idea.
And so,
Nice.
there's like a lot of different things. And it's just, again, just reinvesting that money and just kind of keeping it chomping at the bit kind of helps everybody.
So I'm going to use it's not the right word, but some of the staff from the old track is coming with you to the new track in Morgan Hill.
That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all the issues that we had were not internal between our crew that ran it. It was just from a police activities league side not being okay with our group. But we've pretty much retained everybody. I still see those people pretty much. I mean, we go to state races together, things like that, and we're kind of that's just the crew we hang out with. So it'll be pretty much the same look, same thing, and just be at a different venue really. And then once, like I said, once we get that programmed, it'll kind of just be just same old thing, just with a new name, new logo, and new location.
Okay, great. All right, so you got all the experience still coming with you. So hey, that's
and I mean we've been fortunate. So there's a girl by the name of Marissa. She does a lot of the registration for USA BMX. She'll go out to a bunch of the nationals. She's actually headed to Nashville. She flies out tomorrow, and then she hosted another event with me last weekend. So we've been kind of still doing a lot of TO stuff. I'll usually help with people's state races, things like that. I'm going to go down. There's a Southern California big weekend. So just to kind of keep the memory fresh on registration and things like that. That way, when we get back into our new track, would kind of be we won't really get that hiccup of kind of relearning everything again. We'll kind of just still be firing on all cylinders. And then we've got an announcer by the name of Joey Bixer that will probably announce for us again, more than likely. And then a family by the name of the Brown family, Kim and Derek Brown. And then their son is a 16X. He'll be 17 soon. He rides on Supercross with me as well. They're in our local area, so they'll go on with us to that new venue as well. So kind of be the same, but slightly different.
What's what's some keys that you guys do to keep your group together, you know, and not fall apart, not leave, not have turmoil? What would you say would be one of the biggest things you guys do?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I think is for us, like I said earlier, I was known as a track operator, but on paper it never really was anything. So everybody kind of had the same bit of power. I mean, we would have our little monthly meetings or whatever, but everybody was always really open to kind of figuring out if we wanted to try something else, or if somebody wanted to go a different direction with something, or they weren't really feeling this promotion or that promotion. But really it's just being humble and not thinking, okay, because I'm the racer, I know more than the person who does the registration. Because at the end of the day, if your registration is bad, that's going to be like, oh, people don't want to go there. That race took entirely too long, you know. So it's always just being able to look at the different problems and the issues that you can have at the local track, and just figuring out how to best solve them, not only from a racer aspect, but also from a parent aspect. A good example would be at POW, we had a pretty easy pro section. And I remember when we first built it, everybody's like, oh, you need to build it bigger for the pros. And I'm like, why do we necessarily need to build it bigger for the one national that we're going to have one weekend out of the year versus our local kids are going to be out here 3 times a week, 150 times a year? So
Right.
for me, yeah, I'd rather build that thing 2 feet shorter. That way people are riding it more consistently. It's easier to maintain because it's actually getting used versus it just becomes an eyesore because nobody rides it until it's that top tier elite. So just being able to do as much for your 5 novices and then try to keep your 16Xs happy and things like that. But just that balance of thinking things through for everybody, not just kind of what seems to be the right answer at the time.
Right. Yeah. You know, that's I agree with that whole thing. You know, oh, there's a pro section at the local track. And I always think about that, and my thought is, why don't you do like a, let's say, I'll pick a 13 and under section and a 14 and up section or something like that versus a pro section?
Because kids want to jump a pro section.
Yeah, but what if you had like the, I don't know, or maybe it's the expert section or
No
something.
one wants to jump an expert section. They want to jump a pro section, Chris.
Okay. Yeah.
So
but
I
you
mean,
know what I mean,
our pro section, you could roll it basically. Now it wasn't faster to roll it, but you absolutely could. So you would even get like a 13 inner who, if they got pushed wide in the first turn and headed toward the pro section, it didn't end their day. Sure, their second straight was going to be a little bit slower, but they could still pump and pedal through that side and still kind of get the day done. And that's one of those things too, where somebody might say, well, why are you going to groom the inside of the pro section? Well, in the rare event that a 12-year-old ends up on that side of the track, it shouldn't really end their day. Yeah, they might not make it out that round,
Right.
but I don't necessarily want them to fall off of a cliff, you know? So it's just,
Right.
again, getting back to those, how can you make it where it's okay for everybody? And when something is rollable, you're more inclined to try to jump it because, yeah, if you jump the first one and you're not sure, yeah, you can just hit your brakes, roll into the next one, no big deal. But if you're at a section where it's just lips and landings and that's it, and you do happen to get the first one, but then you're not as confident for the second one, now you're kind of gambling with, do you jump off your bike? Do you just try to huck it and send it? Do you pull the brakes and see what happens? So yeah, it's just kind of like I said, just being able to figure out every possible scenario before you kind of go forth with whatever your plan's going to be.
Yes.
That's cool.
Well, it also helps your rider base itself. Their experience level go up because they have safer jumps to learn how to jump on.
Yep.
That's true.
Kind of like a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago when Tom was on? Ritz was on?
Yeah.
It's like he always makes sure he's got that section of the track where, you know, the older guy, the younger kids, they can learn how to jump.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, he's
important.
He's got a whole different thing going on.
3 nights a week, 150 riders. Where did that normally land you guys in standing wise for your track in the country?
So we finished #1 track in the country probably the last 3 years, and then Oak Creek, which is just outside of Sacramento, so not too far from us, they nipped us the last 2 years. But yeah, it's really like for that top 5 in the country, you pretty much just got to average, I'd say, between 150, 200 riders a night. And then you've got to be kind of doing a lot of memberships. We were doing our last 2 years, we averaged about 450 new full members each year.
Whoa.
So we were churning out new full members. But now you could look at that and say, man, you guys were doing amazing. But for me, if I sold 450 new full memberships, but my average turnout was only 150, 175, sure, you could rest on, yeah, we did great. But then to me, the other side is, okay, but how do we figure out how to get those other 200 people that we somehow lost, like that just didn't make it out for whatever reason. But yeah, so we would always finish usually top 3 in the country. And it was usually ourselves or Rum River. They run a real solid program out there.
Yeah.
And then Oak Creek in Sacramento does a great job. They've been doing really well the last couple years. And the good thing too is when PAL started getting better, it really kind of, I would say, put out a call to all the NorCal tracks of like, hey, we've got to get better as a whole, because a lot of the tracks were just kind of, and I try to say it as sweet as I can, but they were just kind of mom and pop, not a lot going on. I mean, just old rickety gates, not a lot of maintenance, things like that. But now you look at where it is 5 years ago to today, and it's definitely every track's kind of stepped it up a little bit more. And then the hope is when we get Morgan Hill going, we just kind of get right back to that. And just kind of everybody kind of working harder just makes it better for the ridership. That way, any track they show up to in Northern California, they know is going to be a quality track.
Yeah.
That happened here.
Everybody's stepping their game up.
You look over the last 3 years, even up here in the Mitten, the same thing happened. Like you got, Port Huron on the east side of the state, they stepped up their game. Waterford, Richfield, all of them, Lansing, they've all put tons more work into their tracks.
Yeah. Plus, we've had a few new people get involved at some of those places, and they're grabbing the ball and running with it.
Traverse City just redid theirs last week.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
So, all right. So, you want to put your track operator hat on for a minute here. What is like the good and the bad of being the track operator?
Start with the good.
The good. Yeah, let's go positive first. What are some of the good things?
I'd say that not to be super cliche, but you do get a lot of just equity in kids being happy. You're a lot of people's first intro into BMX. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, when somebody comes, knows nothing about BMX whatsoever, they just happen to get a flyer or they have a friend or whatever, they show up at your window. It's basically, you have a canvas. You can show them a horrible time that night. You can show them the greatest night of their life. You can show them a really competitive version, or you can show them hey, we're just going to get out here, learn, have some fun, get a trophy at the end of the night. It's really like a blank slate, and kind of however you go with it. We were fortunate enough that we had a lot of younger kids that were willing to help. I kind of would take the lead and say, hey, these are our new riders. We're going to go ahead and, we would get out there their first lap ever and it would go from running behind them the first time, just kind of getting out there, making sure they were going to get over the hills, and then pairing them up with a more advanced rider or even an expert rider. Because to me, I always saw it that kids would get to the track and they'd be the new kid. And being the new kid is not always fun when every other kid is on a $3,000 bike and they look factory head to toe and they're jumping everything, and you're on just whatever loaner bike or a rental bike or the bike that you brought from home. Maybe it's a mountain bike. So for me, one of the best things about being a TO is kind of finding those things and figuring out how to kind of bridge those gaps and make it work so that those new riders are comfortable following up with them the next week. Like, hey, you did pretty good on Sunday. You're going to come out next Tuesday, or maybe you're just a Sunday rider, but just keeping up. And there's a lot of good because you also start to meet their parents, and then the parents respect you and because you're helping their kids and things like that. And then you start to make those relationships and just makes things a bit more of a breeze. Everybody's usually appreciative. And then when those people are bringing those kids out, it's always, again, that ridership is growing. So then it starts to help you when you do want to get a bigger race. You've got a ridership base. So it just kind of all meshes well. And that's definitely, I would say, like I said, just being able to be everybody's first exposure to BMX and kind of how you put it forward to them is probably one of the coolest things.
Yeah. That sounds. I kind of like that too, and I like what you said about how you can make that experience either a real positive or not so positive experience. And I think that we learned some of that from the BMX Racing League, how to present the sport to somebody new. You know, like you said, they come out and all they see is this super fancy, expensive bike and, you know, the brand new gear from head to toe. And they're like, whoa, you know, I got to have all that stuff. And it's like, no, to get started, you just need a bike, you know, some long pants, a long sleeve shirt, and a helmet. You know, you don't need all that crazy stuff. And,
Yep, keep it simple.
yeah, you know, but then at the same time, you got a mom and a dad or parent, whatever it be, you know, they're looking at it going, hey, what, you know, how do we get involved in this? And, you know, it's on whoever, it's actually whoever the first person they run into when they get out of the car is the one that's going to kind of do. Hopefully it's somebody on, you know, one of your volunteers that does that. But if it isn't, I think all of us as riders have to grow the sport and do our part. So, you know, so when you see that new kid or that new parent, go up to them and how you doing? And yeah, come up here to the building and here's where you get all the information and, you know, that type of thing. We all, you know, it's all of our sport. And if we want to make it bigger and better, that you got to do that stuff.
Yeah, and like I tell everybody, I'm like, everybody owns a small piece of BMX, whether they like it or not, or they acknowledge it or not. But
right,
like I said, when that first person comes to you, it's your responsibility and how you show them that little piece of BMX. And it may be different on how Justin does it or how Rick Carter does it, but everybody has that small little morsel of BMX and says, hey, this is how I do it. And as long as that's in an uplifting way and kind of like you said, that first person that they meet, I would always do registration. Sure, there's other things I could be doing at the track, but I would always make it a point to do registration because I felt that it gave me a chance to see at least half the riders because we would have 2 windows going. So every time we opened, you would see the track operator and you'd have that brief conversation. Oh, hey, you going to this race? While I was registering them in. Or if it was a brand new rider, oh, hey, Ahmad, nice to meet you. It's going to be your first time. Cool. I'm actually going to ride with you. As soon as we're done with this paperwork here, I'm going to meet you on the side of the building. We'll get you a helmet. We'll get you. And then I'd get out there their first couple of times, and then I'd hand them off to one of my more experienced riders and say, hey, Ahmad, this is Deegan. He rides on the same team as me. He's a pretty good rider. He's going to be with you for the rest of the practice. I'm going to go back in and get back to work, but I'm also going to be at the finish line later. So when that kid would come across their first race of the night, I'm scoring at the finish line. So I'd put down the clipboard. Hey, dude, pretty good or whatever. Like, how do you feel? How are things going? And then at the end of the night, we'd be handing out the trophy slips. And even if that kid didn't make the main, we still did the trophy for their first time out. So we'd hand them off the trophy. You'd probably meet the parents at the time. So again, it's just a real big mesh and a real fluid system of how to just kind of keep them involved that way, because you can't just hope that somebody gets it, falls in love with it as much as I did. I mean, that's how it worked for me. I did it one time and I loved it, but some people are going to need a little bit more encouragement or a little nudge or a little bit gingerly. Maybe a kid's not that great on a bike, you know, like, yeah, if that kid can't ride a bike that well, for you, it's your job that night to get that kid to get around the track, you know, like, so. Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of ways to go about it, but I think, yeah, one of the big things is just kind of nurturing those riders until they kind of are on their own.
I had a quick question. Well, I'll let you answer the bad first, and then I had a question that you were about your membership you were talking about. But what's some of the bad, or what is the bad of TO? So we'll go to the other side.
A lot of it, I would say, is misinterpretations or assumptions. A lot of people think, I mean, there was even times where people would be like, you're making so much money at PAL, and like people don't even understand, like it'd be a $10 entry fee, $3 would go for the trophy, and the other $7 would go directly back to PAL. And it's like, oh, you drive a Range Rover, and I'm like, first of all, that's a salvage title Range Rover that I flew to New York to buy because it was really cheap. It was like $13,000. But it's just the conception of if you're taking money, that it's just you being greedy and keeping that money and buying a yacht or whatever the case may be. It's like people forget that it takes money to even run those events. Like the computer I'm on and the laptop and the microphone that we're using or the event shirts that we're giving out or the trophies or or the ram for the gate or the gate itself. It's like people just somehow think that like there's this cornucopia of just BMX stuff that you get to go to and you just get to put your track there and then you just get to pull in all the money. And it's like, dude, there's bills here just like there's bills at your house. And it's like, we've got to like do good business, that way the lights can still be on, you know? So it's like people just think if anything goes up in price, it's, oh, you must have bought a boat. I'm like, what? I can't even swim. What do I need a boat for? You know?
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of, usually it's just misinformation. And I mean, it was the same thing with the PAL thing, got super out of hand, and it was at the end of the day, at face value, it was literally just bad information that people got and they just ran with it. And by the time they were let to know like, hey, your information was bad, it had started this big out of control thing. And it's like, yeah, now you can't stop it. Like, it's gone too far now and it just is what it is. So
wow.
I would just say like, yeah, like rumors, misinformation, and just not communicating, it can definitely bring things to a halt real quick.
You gotta park your nice car down the road and take a junker to the track.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just show up in your 92 Honda Civic with the 2 flat tires. It would be a lot easier for you.
That reminds me like that what's that, Roadhouse, where the guy gets the old car, drives it to work and
intentionally buys the old one. Yeah, that's a good example.
So the question I was that came up was, you were saying you did about 400 memberships. Where were you driving those memberships out of? Was it like league, community outreach, advertising, word of mouth? Where was the majority of that coming from?
So that, and again, this is where I'll answer it and then also give you some context. 450 sounds like a lot, and pat ourselves on the back. That's a lot of riders that are out there.
Sure.
But to me, that was only 0.001%, because the city of San Jose is a little over 1 million people. So for me, it's like, if we only got 450 kids, there's probably, I don't know, 250,000 kids that we missed, you know? So yeah, we might have got 450, but a lot of it was, I mean, we're in a pretty residential area, so people were seeing the track here and there. We definitely were fortunate enough that we had a friend that, and again, we're in Silicon Valley, Facebook is real close, right up the street. There was a guy that raced at our track, and he worked for Facebook, so he had like some ad spend, basically, that if you work there, you can donate your ad spend to different nonprofits and stuff. So he would just run these targeted ads that would just have a couple pictures of BMX riding and then like our contact information, and he would just keep redoing that ad, and it was pretty cheap. I want to say it was about $50 a month or so he would do in the ad spend, but he would run that 12 months a year. And I couldn't tell you, that was probably a good 50% of the ridership. Is we would ask them when they got there, like, oh, how'd you hear about the track? And they're like, oh, your Facebook ad. And I'm like, we didn't have a Facebook ad. And then like finally when he told me, he's like, oh yeah, I've been running this ad for you. And then it was like, dude, thank you so much. And then at the same time, we would always make sure to do a really good, clean, every time we would post that we were racing, which again was 3 times a week, we would always use clean, crisp photos, make sure to always have, these are our race days. And then also just being really consistent was a big thing. Was we wouldn't ever shut the track down if we didn't absolutely have to. Because for us, we always thought, if the track's closed, then you might go to bowling or you might go to basketball or something, and you might fall in love with that other sport, and the only reason you went there is because we weren't there, we weren't open for you. So we would always try to do as much as we can to make sure the track were open. But again, I think what drove a lot of that memberships was just the consistency of being open as much as we can, and then being real good, real strong on social media, being real consistent in our posts, using our logo a lot, and then being engaged in the community as well. We would always do like 4th of July parades, and we'd do community days, usually once a month or every 6 weeks or so, where just get out people for free, just get them out there, get them out on the track. If they have a good time, great. If they hated it, no big deal, but at least they've come, they've gotten that first experience at the track, and they kind of have seen what it is that's out there. They want to come back and race, great. If not, no big deal, they can come to the next one.
Yeah, I think that some of those points, so track operators should listen up to some of that, you know, be consistent. I think that's a big thing.
Well, the Facebook advertising, it's like Nick said, it's not very expensive. Those that, a lot of the people are listening, watching right now, they know, like, I owned a bar, and for 8 years, 9, 10. I don't know. It definitely felt like 25, but that's I didn't have a lot of money to do much with, so I did the same thing. I took like on a weekend or something like that, I maybe take like $15-20, and you can target your advertising down to right like your neighborhood, your city and stuff. And I would advertise like the neighboring city because you want to bring in new customers. And you could see at the end of the night, for me, I could look and see the credit card receipts and see like new people showed up. And it's a real effective tool.
It is. I mean, look into that, track operators out there, Facebook advertising, because all right, so the kids, they're big in the TikTok and what's the Instagram and that.
You can advertise on those.
But the parents are Facebook. So for the most part, I mean, in general speaking, and when I was part of the board at Waterford Oaks, we did some of that. Every now and then we'd take $10-20, and like Justin said, you can narrow down and like almost nano target where you want those ads to go. And I mean, if you got that's another, it gets into all
how much do you think your community involvement played a part of it? Because like we always hear a lot of back and forth on that, like being in parades, that is good, that's not. But I'm for one of the mindset, like it's good. If you can be at Park and Recs meetings, the more the merrier. The more that people know about BMX, because we always hear the same story, right? How long's that bike track been there? And they live 5 blocks away or a block away. Like how important is that for you guys?
Well, yeah, to me, I mean, that's a crucial thing because it does two things really well. Is for one, if it's like a parade or something like that, is it engages your normal ridership, because like what 9 or 10-year-old kid doesn't like being in a parade,
Ooh,
like,
great point.
Cool, I get to ride my bike and I get to be the focal point of the parade. Like, yeah, let's do it. So let's say you get 50 of your local kids or whatever, and you're saying, hey, we're going to go to this parade, and you just buy lunch or whatever, and then you're in the parade. So those kids are loving that because they're getting to hang out with their friends, they're being the epicenter or whatever. But also along that parade route, you're promoting to every kid who's seeing that, like, what are those kids doing on bikes? I've got a bike at home. How come I'm not in that? So you're kind of doing that as well. And then what it also does is it's always your city council members have to be at those parades 9 times out of 10. It's the movers and shakers in the communities. It's the business leaders or the small business mom and pop shops, or even just where you're going. You're a focal point of, hey, we have a BMX track. This is what we are. This is what we do. So to me, yeah, you might not see anybody. Let's say you do it. Nobody comes the next day. No big deal. But you may be at a Parks and Rec meeting 6 months down the road where you're trying to get somebody to help you out, pave a turn or whatever. And it could be the mayor who happened to see that group and say, no, you know what? I do want to support this because I saw those kids at the parade. They were all having a good time. It's 50 kids, which is 100 parents. And those are community numbers where, yeah, I do want to support them. They're involved with the community. And now it's time for the community to help them. So you never know exactly who, and that payoff might not be then, and it might not even be 6 months or even a year down the road, but you never know who's watching and who kind of sees it,
Good point. Great
That's
point.
True.
Before we move into our next segment, I wanted to check with Melissa. Was there any comments or questions thrown in there?
Yeah, there was a question. I don't know if you know this or not, Nick, but Martin was wondering if you knew how many districts there were in California, and is the rider count in California the highest in the U.S.?
Ooh, so here's where it gets tricky with California, because when California was in its heyday, so like early 2000s, we were up to like 24 districts. So there was a ton.
Wow.
Now there's still the number, like District 24 or whatever, the highest number is still there, but they have merged out some. So there's some districts that don't even exist anymore. So now there's like 1, 3, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 are missing, 15, 16. So when they combined, it kind of threw a little screwball in there, because now it's like, well, there's 24, you could be in District 24, but there's not actually 24 districts. But yeah, I would say that California probably has the largest rider count. And I would say followed up by either Texas or Florida, just one of those states that has like a lot of land mass. But I mean, California is definitely going strong. Southern California is not as strong as it once was. They've lost kind of a lot of their key premier tracks have gone away, and I know they're always trying to get them back on board. And even Northern California, we lost a couple in the last few years, but our ridership's still kind of been fairly steady. I don't know about you guys, but for us, once COVID hit, we were down for about 6 weeks, but then I did a lot of work with our county, was able to get like an exemption for outdoor recreation. And we kind of had to jump through a lot of hoops and stuff. But once we were the only program that was open during COVID, it was like crazy the amount of people we had because there was no stick and ball sports were going. Parents wanted to get out, get their kids and stuff. So we had extreme growth pretty much the entire time of COVID. Like I said, once we got out of the first 6 to 8 weeks and we kind of buckled down, like, okay, BMX racing is going to be a little bit weird. People got to sit in their cars. They can't kind of hang out. We didn't do trophies because we couldn't have like hand-to-hand transactions and just all this kooky stuff. But it was like the numbers were off the chart. So it was like, and then once COVID kind of started subsiding and you could go out, all those people still kept racing because it still took another year for the stick and ball sports to come back on. So we kind of had free reign and just were kind of eating up everybody's numbers. So it worked out for us really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know here in Michigan, we had a 20% spike in the state series. That was people that did enough qualifiers and did the final that there was a 20% uptick.
Nice.
Yeah.
It sounds bad to say this, but I think COVID was good for BMX.
No, I joke all the time, and again, I mean it lightheartedly because COVID definitely, I mean, lots of people lost family members and things like that, but I think COVID did more for BMX than the Olympics ever would have done.
Yeah.
And that's just, it was just a weird way that it happened where stick and ball sports kind of couldn't get it together. BMX was outdoor and it was just the rogue, resourceful BMXer and everybody got it open a little bit quicker than everybody. And I think we're even going to see that for the next couple of years. I know it's going to finally, at some point, it's going to subside. I could see it in some state numbers already that things are kind of starting to mellow out a little bit. Right. But I mean, I think ultimately, COVID was probably one of the best things to happen for the sport, ironically.
Yeah. And, and like you said, Nick, no disrespect whatsoever to anybody who's had family members that have been affected negatively by it. That's just, I mean, the numbers are there. It made BMX more popular because of everything you just said. So,
is there anything else, Melissa?
Sorry, my contact is flipped.
Oh.
There's somebody over on YouTube, Snowman2727, wants to know when you're rejoining Psychopath.
So, this would be another bummer one. The original owner of Psychopath passed away probably about a year ago. But I keep in touch with both of his sons. He's got twin boys that raced, and I knew them the entire time working with them. So I'm still super close with that family. And the crazy part too is all the riders that I had in team management when we ran that team, still keep in touch with all those guys. It's like, it's really, nothing's changed. Like, everybody wears different jerseys now, but it's still kind of the same thing. And it's one of those things where, like, you'll definitely have, like, I think those are some lifelong friendships that I'll have pretty much forever, because you spend a summer tour with somebody. I mean, you're meeting people's parents, things like that. And it's just, I mean, you kind of have those bonds that'll last forever. So good times.
I know there was a question. Is the new track going to have a Tesla charger?
The new track will absolutely have a Tesla charger. And again, that's one of those things where it's so crazy and funny, because when the PAL stuff was going all crazy, I remember reading like some social media stuff, and people were like, he was stealing so much money that he put in a supercharger at the track. And it's like, literally the charger that I had at the track was a $32 plug from Home Depot, and you just wired into your panel. Like, but people were just so nuts. Like, he bought the Tesla with the track money and he's got a supercharger. And I'm like, no, it's just a normal RV plug, you crazy people, like, it's so nuts. You can't convince people otherwise,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you're always going to have that one. I know he was taking all of that. No.
All right. Well, we are going to
gosh.
slide into our next segment here, and that is going to be our lightning round, Nick. And this is going to be the rapid fire. So we're going to fire away with questions. First thing that comes to mind, just go ahead and that's the answer. And as always, the lightning round is brought to you by brandedpopups.com. Mission over at brandedpopups.com is to provide the fan, along with the brand supporter, with an opportunity to purchase a branded pop-up canopy of their favorite company. Hey, if you guys are a co-sponsored rider or you're partnered with a company, why not get a branded tent of that company? Check it out. You can find them over at brandedpopups.com. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Chris, you got the first one.
All right. So, all right, first thing pops in your head, Nick. What's the last movie you watched that you liked so much you've seen it twice?
Tombstone.
Tombstone.
Wow.
And I've watched that thing 100 times.
I was like, that's an older movie. All right, Nick, your favorite sport other than BMX?
Bowling.
All right.
Bowling.
One place you'd like to travel to that you haven't been to yet.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I'd like that too.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, man.
All right. What's the last thing you looked up on Google?
That is a good question. Probably work-related website or something. Yeah. No, actually, yeah. It was a part number for some stuff I got off eBay for work.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to do on a date with your significant other?
Watch movies. Go out to the movie theater.
Nice.
All right. One sport that you'd never try.
Skydiving.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. What's your favorite TV show to watch?
Currently Yellowstone.
Excellent choice. What superpower do you wish you had?
Predicting the future. Is that a superpower?
I would think so.
All right, yeah, predicting the
Somebody's
future.
got to have
Yeah.
Marvel's got to have a character that does that.
Being able to anticipate, see the future, sure.
I think we might know the answer to this one, but aluminum, carbon, or chromoly.
Carbon.
If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Buy as many houses as you can.
Good answer.
Yeah, especially in California. Just get them. Even if you can't afford them, just get them.
Hang on to them for a little bit and
Yeah.
make money.
Do the best you can.
Right on. Real estate, right? Favorite guilty pleasure?
Soda.
Okay.
Yes, that's. Yep.
All right, Nick, what's the most annoying thing about you?
I'm a spaz. Like, I will bounce around a billion things because I will never say no to anything. So just kind of one thing to the other to nail me down and get me to just stay stuck on one thing's a little tricky at times.
Okay. Little ADD.
Right?
Your favorite band?
Slipknot.
Good choice.
All right. What is your favorite cookie?
Plain sugar cookie.
Goddamn right.
Oh,
Those are good.
Yeah, straight sugar cookie.
What is one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you? Like a hidden talent?
I'm a fairly accomplished tennis player.
It's good.
Okay, I like it.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
All right.
All right. Your favorite motocross, supercross rider?
James Stewart by far.
God, there's zero hesitation
Okay.
on that
Nope.
one.
Yeah,
That was right there, like,
smooth.
boom.
Smooth. Peanut butter, crunchy or creamy?
Creamy.
Okay.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with peanut butter. Either or, man. All right, here we go. Last one. What is your favorite live streaming Wednesday night BMX show?
All Things BMX Show.
Yay.
All right. All right, we're going to move into our Newsmaker segment. And Nick, if you want to hang around, you're more than welcome to. If you've got to jump off, totally get it, because you've been sitting there at work after hours, so we get it. And if you're going to jump off, I'll toss it over to you for shout-outs and thanks. Just let me know if you're going to be able to hang on or you want to take off.
No, I'll hang for a bit. I'll probably hang for another 20, 30 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
You just let us know.
So you can just jump in if you have any comments on the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
For sure. Sounds good.
All right, in our first bit, we're going to slide into the Newsmaker segment, like I was saying, and we're going to talk. Oops, I got the wrong one on there. Darn it all.
110 Nutrition.
Brought to you by. Thanks. You do the plug. I'll get this video stuff going.
All right. So this week's Newsmaker segment is brought to you by 110 Nutrition.
There it is.
So we're going to put a link in our chat. Go check those guys out. I got to say, I started using some of that stuff, and dang, does it taste good. It is good stuff.
Are you bench pressing modular homes yet?
Not yet.
The f out of here.
Just
Get
campers.
back in the gym.
Just campers.
Yo, you got campers? Are we talking pop-ups? Are we
Yeah, the
talking
little,
Okay.
little ones.
You got to start somewhere.
Have you found a whole piece of golden cereal?
Yes. I'm glad. Hey, just a heads up. This was a really good thing because that would have freaked me out if I didn't know that.
Don't
No.
let them find out themselves
Hey,
now.
if you want to
choke on
find
it.
out, go to 110nutrition.com
Buy the protein.
and get the
Golden
protein.
Graham protein.
Golden cereal.
Oh, yeah, they can't
Program.
use the...
Yeah,
whatever.
it can't be golden. Yeah,
Go
Right.
check that out. If anything else, it just tastes good.
it does. It is a good.
All right, our first bit of news in the Newsmaker segment is our good friend, the captain, and Lindsay Long. And we're always checking in with them, where they're at, their travels. And this week, they are hanging out down in Nashville. So look, if you guys are there in Nashville, do yourself a favor, head on over to the Haro tent and get yourself some raffle tickets. They got the duffel, or oops, I didn't say it wrong. Oh, shit.
Well, it's the
Somebody
duffel,
now I'm
Duffel bag dash.
Shit.
Dash
Now I sound like
challenge.
there's my preview of birthdays. The duffel bag dash, and they got tons of prizes in there, a couple of sets of carbon wheels, and all kinds of stuff that's going on for this month. And you're helping out all the pros, and then the amateurs are racing at Grand. So it's worthwhile. Get over there and say hi. Tell them ATB sent you.
Yeah, make sure.
All right.
All right, next up, a week from this weekend. So we're going, June the 4th, a week from Sunday. Richfield Park BMX here in Michigan is going to be holding the first of this year's state qualifiers. Registration is early. It is not their normal time, so everybody heads up on that deal. 9 o'clock to 11. So if you show up there at their normal 11 o'clock time,
You screwed.
you lose because it's going to be closed. So get there early. Check it out. Damon and I were out there last weekend. Track's awesome. It's fun to ride. They made some slight changes here and there to it. Got it all tuned up.
Look, here's what's important. Paul did the lines and they're black and white.
Yeah.
All right, that's what's important.
It's cool. It's different.
He lined the track in black and white.
Yeah.
How do you do black and white?
He bought
Spray paint.
He uses spray paint,
And then they
Nice.
put the
Yeah, and
soil tack over the
and then
top
they
of it.
soil tack right over the top of it.
Nice.
And he's out there with a laser. He's like calling on.
But he is.
He's out there with lasers. He's got Freemason people out there helping him make sure them lines are straight.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding, dude. We
No,
get out
it's
there. We
sharp.
get out there early, and him and one of the other volunteers, like he's been there for years. Dennis.
Oh, yeah, Dennis.
Oh my
Yarborough.
God, those two would fight like cats and dogs. It was great. There was some quality.
I totally understand it because I was down, like I said, I went down and did that race at Woodward, and Lance from USA BMX said, hey, there's a striper in the back of the truck and trailer. Can you just stripe the track? Now, at my track, we had like this fancy 4-inch painter little thing, and we would lay down like lines, and that way we knew it was all straight. And he's just like, no, just go to the grocery store and get some flour, and there's a little till thing in there. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, you want me to stripe a whole track just going off my eye and my arm
Nope.
out there? Like, are you kidding me?
No
so
way.
It ended up being pretty decent, but the whole time just sweating bullets.
It's gonna be off an inch.
All right, and that was our Newsmaker segment. If you guys are a track team, club, or you just got some news you want to spread with us, send it on into what email, Chris?
info@allthingsbmxshow.com. Yeah, send that over. Make sure you send it before the day of the show. So yeah, we got some room in there. Obviously, we only had the one
It's all right.
One event.
We're working on a new segment.
All right.
We are.
Cool.
This came from an idea from one of the viewers. So next week we're going to debut it. You guys make sure you're here next week, and we're going to debut that segment.
So there's your
It'll be
little
pretty cool.
cliffhanger right there, right?
Yeah.
It is. That was your teaser.
Oh, Mo put in the chat that
Thanks.
Nick is going to be at Marysville BMX track in Ohio next Wednesday. So I'm
Nick
going to
Long?
guess that might be their next after Nashville.
Yeah, makes
They'll be
sense.
coming
That
up
makes
to
sense.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
So go check I put the links in the chat. If you're going to be around the Marysville BMX area next week, go check it out.
All right.
Thank you, Mo Collins.
It's time. Brought to you by Bombshell Racing Systems. Time for Melissa's world famous trivia, and she's got a doozy. Do you? Oh, I already did the teaser.
Every time I say that,
That's how fast they can Google at this point.
that is true.
Yeah.
Here's your trivia question. What's Nick's
It is-
favorite drink?
It is.
You never asked him. That's right.
It is a California-related question. I'll give you that.
Here we go.
All right, we got the usual sticker pack and your I don't know why that says $5 on it. I swear I'm not charging you. Shipping and handling. No, I'm kidding. Your danger snacks, your very
Gonna
own
win
little
it, but
pack
you gotta
there.
pay for the shipping.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
look.
you win, but you owe me $10 to get your prize back. And it says the bottle says "Don't hold back." I don't think you can when you take those things, can you?
Oh my god.
Danger snacks.
Yeah.
They got little messages on each one of them. They're pretty cool.
And got a little cooling towel there from our buddies at Jai Job Apparel. I got a box T-shirt from our friends in Haro, Florida, and your backpack to go with it. Hold it all together. All right, my Florida, Florida on the brain. My California-related question. According to USA BMX, how many official BMX tracks exist in the state of California?
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Everyone
So,
right now is
clarifying
like,
the question, according to I'll even go further. According to the USA BMX website, how many official BMX tracks exist in the state of California? Because that's where I got my information from.
There you go.
All right.
So,
All right.
On with that, we're on
Ready
to
for
who we got coming up next week.
This is a good one. This has taken a while to get this guy nailed down.
3 years.
He's been one of the ones we've been trying
he
to
says
get.
nobody wants to hear his story.
Right. That's what he. So I believe Justin and Brian Fell kind of tackled him, and
Our production engineer, our talent engineer, and
talent scout or whatever.
yeah, talent
Either that
scout,
or you guys got some dirt on
the
him. I don't know
executive
what it
over
is.
there.
Got to be felt.
But Dale Holmes will be on the show next week.
That's
So
going to
that
be a
is
fun
going to
one.
be some real fun stuff because Dale's got his own podcast.
We got a couple of them.
So
What did you refer to him as?
He's the BMX Podfather, and that's how Chris will
Podfather.
be addressing him the entire show.
The
Podfather?
Podfather of BMX.
all right.
You can refer to him as BMX Podfather the whole show, or just Father.
How about Mr. Holmes?
So it's going to be a good one, and pretty excited to have him on. And all right, we're going to go into our showcase segment now, and
That is brought to you by.
our good friends over at Answer BMX. All right, here we go.
So you can get the answer to the trivia question. All right. So we're going to go Dirty Knobs podcast. Make sure you check these guys out. We got Hollywood Mike Miranda, Eric Carter, James Vicente. They are the Dirty Knobs podcast. And their latest episode, they are reviewing and talking about the huge party they just put on in Southern California called Dirty Fest. So get over there, check that out. It's a good. I listened to it the other day. Good show. Like I said, they're reviewing everything, talking about things, and from what they're telling me, there's going to be a second annual one. How's that?
Yeah.
So they're going to get that going. So make sure you check that out. We'll put a link to their YouTube channel in here. and also Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you download podcasts from, you can get a hold of this as well. So check them out.
Absolutely. Newest episode of the Moms Talk BMX podcast show is with the Olympic gold medalist Connor Fields. I haven't had the chance to listen to this one yet, but I'm sure it's amazing. So go check them out.
It was good. I did get that one. Shoot, I forget when now, but it was like a week or so ago. I got a hold of that one.
Can we let the cat out of the bag?
That's up to you. That's why I didn't say anything. I don't know if you want to.
It's a birthday special too,
A birthday special.
right? Didn't he book on that? I think he booked that. Did he book on the 26th?
26th of July, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Connor Fields will be on the show the 26th of July.
Oh, I should have told you that we
Yeah.
weren't having a show that night.
Yeah, you might have wanted before we booked him.
Oh, well. Be changing that plan.
Uh-oh.
All right, our next bit of showcase news is
my
coming
fault.
to
That's
you.
your birthday, isn't it?
It's his
It's only
birthday.
my
it's his
birthday.
Oh,
Hers is in December.
that's right.
Yup.
Gosh, I flip-flopped
No
the two of
biggie.
you.
He'd rather be talking to Connor anyways than what I had planned.
Nothing. Oh, Damon will love it. Birthday cake and Connor Fields.
There you go. Next up is our Beer Budget BMX show. It's the only live streaming show that you're going to find out on the interweb and social media, where they're discussing all the hot topics, news, teams, tracks.
Interweb or dark web?
With Carter, it's definitely the dark web.
Yeah, dark web for sure.
Sorry to interrupt. I didn't want
It's
to
fine.
interrupt your upcoming.
This
Speech
is
here.
oh gosh, this is a doozy.
This is
Strung along a whole bunch of classic rock here. This week's show is coming to you Saturday night. It's time. It's time to shoot the thrill, play to kill. Mike's in the background yelling, "Too many women and too many pills." Thunder Midget's yelling, "Tommy's still on strike. He's down on the docks." Beer Budget BMX made it through the wilderness like a virgin that they are. Somehow they made it through. Didn't know how they lost their way until they found you. Beer Budget on a Saturday night's like a bat out of hell. That's gone in the morning when the morning comes. When the night's over, like a bat out of hell, they'll be gone, gone, gone. Remember, Thunder Midget's essentials for training, ladies and gentlemen: tanning beds, tuna, and rice. You guys don't forget, Saturday nights, tune in, tear off your shirts, high five your bros, and get on that bad motor scooter and ride.
I thought it was 3 T's.
3 T's.
Wasn't tanning, tuna, and tacos or something like that?
I change it.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. My
so-
bad.
Freestyled it.
yeah.
Midway through, I did. I was
There's a
trying to
wing in
read it.
it.
I was like, "Oh God, I should have read this a few more times before I went there."
Gotta get it. I don't know.
It was a hard one. I was
That-
trying to go all classic
You
rock, but
did.
then I'm
You
like,
did.
we're gonna slide Madonna in.
I
here.
was reading it
Yeah.
in the script. I'm like, okay, I get about maybe 60% of this, but what is this line from? And then he had to pull up Madonna, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I missed the Virgin song.
Yeah. You know, you could also slide in now. I guess it's kind of late.
Yeah,
I
'cause I
heard this on the way over
the
here.
read
that
already.
Tina Turner had passed away, so I guess Beer Budget BMX, simply the best. How's that? But,
Oh,
rest in peace,
Oh my God.
Tina Turner. How's that?
well,
That was one of my favorites back in the day. I
Yeah.
enjoyed.
yeah, was sad to hear that.
Yeah.
83, I think she was.
Yeah. All right. Next up, BMX in Our Blood podcast. This is hosted by Joe Doherty. You see here.
That's it.
That's
Just-
it.
That's all it's on there. Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, this is hosted by
That's
Joe
it.
Doherty. He's been a guest on our show a couple of times. He does a great job. And he doesn't have a set schedule for his shows, but when he does them, they are excellent. So go check that out.
Subscribe to him on Spotify, and they'll just tell you when the new one's out.
That's right. Next, we're going to touch base with our friends over at Real BMX Racing, the podcast. This is hosted by Shannon Polk and Everett Robinson. Link will be in the chat. Go check them out.
And our good friends down at the Texas BMX Show, hosted by Rusty Dial. They just dropped a new show the other night. Go over, check them out. Link will be in the chat. It was a good one. They were talking about the upcoming event they got there and all kinds of other stuff. So go check them out. And Chris, you got the last
And
one.
here we go. Boss Man Vlog. So check this out. Boss Man Vlog is hosted by super fast expert and cruiser rider Maurice Adams. He's out of the Midwest. He brings stories from the gym, from the track. He's got he does an awesome job. It's a YouTube channel. Go check him out. We'll put a link in the chat for that. And
That's going to wrap it
If
up.
you have a podcast, a live stream, zine, anything you're doing to help promote the sport of BMX, get a hold of us and we'll add it to our list of things here in our podcast show segment here. That we're
You
doing.
got, do we got a winner, Melissa?
I do.
Oh, boy.
I do. Fastest Google in town.
Was it Birthday Boy Tank?
It was not. Who was my first one? Rick was really close. So Rick said 33. The answer that I pulled off of their website was 31, which Robert Cardoza got the first one in my chat with that. But runner up to that is Billy at Gate 9, and Zach Goss also had the correct answers.
Oh my gosh.
So
We're going to have to do like a radio station does. If you've won in the last 90 days, you're not if
I
you and your
mean-
family or you and your family members are not eligible.
So we talk about new segments. If anybody has any suggestions on how to spice up my segment, I am. Feel free to email me because it's not working anymore.
Well, I got to say, we threw up that post. What was it yesterday or the day? Whatever. Guests you want to see on the show.
Yeah.
That was interesting to see some of the things.
I
folks-
contacted every single name that people put on there.
He-
Some of
he's
them didn't.
been,
Some of
busy.
them didn't reply back. But
Right.
Yeah,
And
he's-
at the bottom of the barrel, you got Nick Valencia.
Oh no! You were already
No,
booked.
we already
you were
had
already
you.
booked.
you're already booked.
we already
not-
had you, dude.
You were a forethought.
You're a
not an
lifesaver, man, because
afterthought.
you were able to jump on this week. We appreciate that, man.
Actually, I think we should just say now, you're welcome back anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always willing for sure.
Yeah.
I
If you got
it's-
something going on with the new track, Supercross has got something new
I
out,
was gonna say,
whatever it
I
is,
think Bill
get
is
a hold
gonna
of
get
us.
rescheduled, isn't he?
Yeah, Bill's going to be back on.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. No, Bill always he's always thankful whenever I can get online, bump my gums a little bit, and it always definitely helps and gives him something to listen to as well. So
Sure.
keeps him on his toes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff.
All right, ladies and
So-
gentlemen, it's that time of the evening, most anticipated segment of All Things BMX. It's time for Chris Beer to slaughter your birthday names.
Okay. So the first one I'm going to do is not on your list.
Oh, okay.
So
Going off
well,
the rails.
all right. So
Okay.
no, I'm going to do it first because I don't want to do it last. All right. So yesterday was my mother's birthday, and she would have been 78 years old. So happy birthday, Mom.
Were you going to do her say her name?
Oh, well, all right. Her name is Janie Beer.
All right, here you go.
So happy birthday to her. Up. She's up above looking down on us and probably going to be laughing at me while I'm reading all these names.
Oh, there's some good ones.
Yeah, the first. All right, here we go. So if you're celebrating your birthday this week, you're celebrating with Gabriel Huth, Alfonso Gigante. Thank you.
Better than what I could come up with.
Oh, I appreciate it when you guys like affirm me with how I pronounce it. That it's
If I saw
right.
You're like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. Yeah,
If that name's on the moto sheet, he's only getting his first name said.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Diego Dentas. Mark Davis. Hey, that one was easy. Let's see here. Kevin Cocavalli.
No, that's Cacavelli.
Kaka.
pretty
Cacavelli.
close for never.
Caca?
having-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaka.
It's because I met him.
Yeah.
All right.
Cacavelli.
Oh, here's one we haven't seen in a while. Our buddy Tank is having a birthday. Happy birthday, Tank. Jeffrey DeVito, MCS, and oh gosh, what's his? I'm losing my mind here.
No, that's not him. This is a different guy. This is the Michigan Jeff.
Oh, this isn't.
No.
Oh,
No.
Florida
It's
DeVito.
not, yeah, it's not. No.
no, it's different.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Hey, if I don't screw up your name, I'll
I
screw
didn't
up
realize
who
there
you
were
actually
two,
are.
So
Oh, another one of our former guests on the show, Mr. Tracer Finn. Happy birthday, Tracer. Tommy Chong?
Yeah, there's your celebrity birthday.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he's having a birthday. Big old pot smoker Tommy Chong.
I thought his birthday was on April 20th.
No, he just celebrates that day with Willie Nelson.
Okay, just checking.
You ever smoked weed with Tommy Chong?
No.
It wouldn't matter. You wouldn't remember anyway.
Funny.
There is a song that's called "I Will Never Smoke Weed with Willie Again," though.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Anyway, back. All right. Ben O. So he's got a middle initial O, and then Verbich. Verbich. Okay. Art Skinner. Oh boy. I don't even know where to. Taga Andre. Tikia. I don't know. I'm going on the next one. Patrick Osmus, Chris Paul, Christy Jones, Bubba Hayes, Gina Pesatro,
Pestatiro, right?
Turo.
Pesatiro, maybe.
Pesaturo.
Yep, she'd be the one that goes by her first name racing.
Gina. Yep.
Gina's in second.
Exactly.
Gina P.
Right? Yeah. Gina with the red jersey on, or whatever it is. All right. Eric Hires, Wayne Hardman, Fur, I guess was how you would say it, Fur Rodriguez, Elliot Van Orman. And that is our list of birthdays.
Chris, could you do me one more? Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Could you read the name after Tommy Chong for me?
I gotta hang on. I gotta go back.
Yeah,
and find
just read the name right after Tommy Chong one time for me.
that. Benno Verbich.
There you
Say it again.
Benno Verbich.
Bend over, bitch.
Wow. Hey, we got a special guest on the phone.
Oh my gosh, that's
Mr. Bill Ryan called in. How's it going, Bill?
Thanks for calling the All Things BMX Show. How are you guys doing?
We're here. We
We're
got
here.
Nick. We got Nick with us. What's going on, man?
Nicholas with you? You have Nicholas Valencia with you?
Yeah, we do.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Nick.
How's it going, sir?
I'm great, sir. Just leaving the shop after the typical half day and figured I missed being able to see you guys on air and figured I would call in and give you guys a hard time on the drive home.
I like it.
yeah.
We're wrapping up, but you want to call in on the after chat, Bill?
Oh, I will try and do that. I've only got about another 5 minutes, but I figured this is like one of those radio call-in shows,
Yeah.
right? This is
Well-
like live on the air with All Things BMX.
There you go.
Welcome
There you go.
to whatever, right?
We'll go. Bill,
Love
do you
it.
have any questions for our guest Nick?
Did you try, what do they call it, poutine while you were up in Canada?
Oh, I hate that stuff. Not
Poutine.
a fan.
What is it?
Me too.
Poutine. It's like how do you
It's
explain
French
it?
fries
Like,
covered in gravy and
yeah, like
Yeah.
gravy over fries and cheese. It's like a
cheese
big
curds.
mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Which
I had
is
that.
odd because I love
Yeah.
cheese curds, so I would have just ate those by themselves.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between a fried cheese curd and one slimy covered in gravy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's
So, yeah.
That
no
is-
poutine
I mean,
for
no
me.
offense, Canadians, but yeah.
So hold on. So you guys are wrapping up the show early, so Nick didn't have a lot to say?
No, he's been
Is
on
that
for.
what you guys are saying?
No, we're almost 2 hours in.
we're about
almost-
we're about 2 hours in.
2 hours in. Wait a minute. Oh, geez, it is almost 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're in Michigan. It's going on 10 here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's past your guys'
Oh,
bedtime.
not yet. No.
no, not on Wednesday night.
Nope.
No.
There's been times I've looked and saw the sun come up and it's still sitting there talking and arguing with Robert Cardoza.
Oh, give Cardoza a big smack on the back for me. I got to see him at Dirty Fest and got to hear him running his mouth the whole time. I bet he's watching you right now and probably commenting on the chat faster than his fingers can move.
Always the first
He's-
one in the after chat.
He's always the first one, yeah.
Hey, how much longer?
That's why I won't come on the show anymore. Jeez.
How much longer do you got going on the Dirty Fest jersey that you're doing?
We actually have the Dirty Fest jerseys going on for another 20 days. We just started that promotion.
Okay, I saw the ad today. I saw your video today.
I'm getting.
Oh my
I'm
God,
gonna
was
order
the
one.
commercial as bad as I thought it was?
No,
I
it's-
haven't watched it yet.
It's great. It's
No,
great.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yep,
Did
it's
it
good.
look okay?
Yeah.
We missed you guys out at Dirty Fest. You're going to come out to Dirty Fest next time and do a live broadcast, right?
Oh, we wish we could. It would be so awesome.
Yeah, Melissa and I looked into
Well-
it. We looked the cabins up and all that stuff for next year, and I got to get a cradle point, and then we could broadcast from there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely doable.
Okay, so Mr.
possible.
Mike Miranda promised me that he's going to give me the date drop as soon as he knows it and that we'll get to leak it. But I think that would be amazing. Can you imagine how rad that would be to have All Things BMX doing a live broadcast from the dirtiest, raddiest, dirtiest fest, Dirty Fest 2?
As long as
Oh,
it's
It's
Love
pretty
it.
synonymous.
as long as
really.
it's ATB, Beer Budget's there, Dirty Knobs is there. Wait, Dale Holmes is out there, so you'd have the BMX Weekly there. It would just have
It's like a podcast
just like
convention.
a whole the whole all star.
And then we could have Bill doing his tech tips while we're doing these.
Right.
I don't think they'll let me out of the dungeon for that. I mean, they'll shoot a pistol at my foot and say, "Dance, monkey, dance," and you get what you get, kind of thing.
It's going to be Tech Tips brought to you after a 12-pack.
Yeah, well, hey, I don't drink alcohol, but we have been approached to be having our own beer, so
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
gonna have to hit Nick up on that one. They
Oh.
said that I appear to be drunk, so I must have my own beer.
Or was it tequila? Isn't that what you were talking about at
It's
one?
mezcal. That's my dear buddy Dave. I love David Catching. He's one of my best friends, and he's one of the most kind human people in the entire world, and that is his mezcal. And I have never taken a drop of that, but I got to tell you, it's the best mezcal in the entire world. You'll love it.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get some of that whiskey that they're always promoting on the Beer Budget show.
Oh, they got one too.
Yeah,
I know Dirty Knobs has got.
Or that's what I meant. Dirty Knobs. What Beer Budget does beer? I forgot.
I was
I
gonna say
got them
that's
mixed up in
beer.
my head.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Bill, I want to thank you for calling in. You're always welcome to jump in afterwards. I'll text you the link, and when you get home, if you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. All right.
Well, thanks, guys. Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt your
No,
show.
you're
and
good.
jump on in, but I hope you guys had an amazing, amazing show. You guys keep up the good work, and Nick, I will talk to you guys later on.
I will chat at you soon, man.
Hey, thanks, Bill.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Bill.
God
Night.
bless.
Thanks.
Take care.
That was pretty awesome. Little surprise call from Bill.
Yeah.
Bill, the CEO.
Gotta be careful when the boss calls, man.
That's right.
Yeah. That's it. You're either doing real well or you better check your phone.
Right. Well, that's when he said Bill's on the phone. Like, what'd we do?
Yeah.
Wah,
You said one thing too
wah.
many. I'm actually gonna bump out of here too,
All right.
guys.
Yeah, we're
I'm
getting
gonna-
ready to wrap
I'm
up.
going to toss it over to you. You can say thanks and shout outs and take us on out of here.
Just as always, thanks. Not only just Supercross BMX, JNR Bicycles, and Fly Racing, my personal sponsors, but everybody out there that have supported me through the entire track transition. There's a million people to thank, but all my normal crew that works with me all the time, all the ridership, and shout out to all the other track operators and volunteers out there. Sometimes the unsung heroes. So thank you guys for doing what you do. Everybody does it a little bit different, but like I said, everybody is kind of one small part of that big BMX pie. So everybody keep doing what you're doing, as well as you guys and all the people doing podcasts, social media, pretty much everybody kind of putting BMX in the forefront. Thank everybody for what they do and appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on, and we will definitely do it again.
Absolutely.
Thank
Great.
you, Nick.
Thank you,
Have
Nick.
a good night, Nick.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Take care.
See you later.
That's a fun time, and I always dig talking with TOs. Get to learn here.
You get so much insight.
Yep.
And I hope that it helps other track operators.
Mm-hmm.
They go like, how does such and such track get 400 plus new riders
Yeah.
signups in a year? Well, we try and bring that up. What's the best seller at the concession stand? What should we have at our concession stand that they don't have, or whatever it be, whatever it is.
Oh, I
it's
just
great.
thought of a sweet chat question for next week.
Yeah.
No,
that's-
not next week. We're gonna have to pair it. No,
Well, That's why I kind of said that what I just said, because I was gonna bring that up, but yeah.
You want to start a fight? Like say that you should sell beer at a concession stand. You want to see a shit show?
No. But seriously, energy drinks at the concession stand at a BMX track. That will start an argument too. Don't sell that junk, or I love that stuff. Yeah. We did that one time at the BMX track. We were selling Monsters, but you had to be 16 or older to buy them.
You suck.
Oh, dude. Yeah, little kids come.
Hey,
can I get a Monster?
You can't buy the Monster, but let me sell you Laffy Taffy, Skittles, all this shit loaded with sugar
and chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
just hand them a goddamn beer.
Well,
it's probably healthier.
How old are you? 6? There you go. You can only get light beer. At 13, you can get real beer.
Remember they used to have those little cans of beer, like what else, like 6-ounce cans of beer?
Man, dude, we had was it 8 ounces, or they were these aluminum beers. They were smaller than a regular one. Dude, that whole summer was a shit show.
We used to do that at Bowser's for the bucket of beers.
Yeah,
they were like the skinnier ones.
That's the ones
Bud and Bud Light. I think Miller might have done it too.
Yeah,
and you'd sell them in
bucket
a bucket
of beer.
We would do
so like you end up with like a total of 3 beers for the
bucket.
But it looked like
but it looked like more because there were 5 little bottles.
I did it
money grab for sure.
I did it on softball night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and it just, dude, it turned into, if it was a hot night, they just dumped the buckets on their friends.
Yeah, we had dollar beer night on Mondays.
Wait,
they would take the beers out.
Beer in the bucket?
Yeah.
I mean, or bottles.
The cans or bottles are in the bucket.
Yeah, and they take them out because they were so small, dude. You could drink them in like 3 drinks, and they would take the ice and the water that's in it and like dump it on a friend.
Okay.
Well, we didn't allow that, but I see.
I couldn't.
Temptation.
It was Clara came in after, like an after thing, because we got our teeth kicked in. It was so busy, and I just got a squeegee out of the back, and that's what I was cleaning the floors with. Pushing them into the drain. She's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Mom, it was wild down here. It was loose."
Now, I've been to a bar, Put-in-Bay, Ohio. They have a bar there. It's called the Roundhouse Bar, and they actually serve beer out of the tap into a bucket, and they give you like little red little solo cups.
Did you just dunk it in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That's wrong.
Now,
but you don't want to drink it out of the bucket either because they get warm.
I would. I just lap that shit up like a dog.
Yeah,
I guess it's like a pitcher.
But then come about, I forget the time it closed there, but let's say 2 o'clock in the morning, you walking down the street and you see people with those buckets on their head, bucket head, because they finished the bucket. You finish the bucket, goes on the head.
You get to take it?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I think of, Melissa, when those little cans, or those little bottles, was, you remember the whiskey, the Tarantula tequila, the neon blue? Oh, God. That stuff was...
I've never heard of that.
It was rough. Oh,
yeah, no, I'm not familiar with that.
But you could mask that stuff with Red Bull or Nellie's Pimp Juice. That was a real energy drink.
Really?
Sold the shit out of that.
Yeah. No, thank you. So, we good?
No.
2 things.
Okay.
I'm gonna interject before you guys take us out.
Sure.
On our behalf of the All Things BMX Show, we want to send out a special set of prayers and health shout out to our friend Michael Mag, who is having some surgery, and we are thinking about you, dude.
Love you, buddy.
And hope everything goes well.
Yeah.
We will see you when you are better and back at the track.
Yeah. Prayers for you, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a little rough week for him. The other thing I wanted to share is I am personally having some surgery on Tuesday. I'm having a joint replacement in my thumb, which is going to leave me rather incapacitated, and I will be off the show for an unknown amount of time. I won't be able to really have use of my dominant hand for a couple weeks. So we'll kind of see how it goes, but definitely going to be out for at least, I'm counting on at least 2 weeks, up to a month, depending on how
we'll
I
expect
feel.
you back with a big thumbs up.
Yeah, well, I will not be able to use my thumb. I will be in a cast for 2 months at minimum.
I
So.
was trying to lighten it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
no,
I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate that. No, I know. I just kind of letting everybody know in case you might wonder where I'm at.
She's going to be producing from upstairs.
I will be
Dude.
upstairs. That's right.
That means-
Studio's in the basement. I'll be upstairs on the couch.
That means we're gonna have to do the trivia question and screw it all up.
So if you see Justin over there typing on his phone, it's probably because I'm bitching about something from upstairs.
That means I'm going to have you and I'll have Fel. I'll be like, oh, no.
He's not. Nobody's supposed to be texting you during the show.
Fel does. He helps me out.
Well,
Brian does.
He lets me know about volume levels and stuff
Yeah.
like that for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
All right. Well,
All right.
I guess if you guys
So-
got that worked out.
We'll see you in a couple few weeks.
Yeah,
How's
couple
that?
weeks. Couple weeks to be determined, depending on how I'm feeling.
Right. Well, we'll hope
a
everything
lot of-
goes well.
All right, Damon, when you come back, you're going to get a lot more responsibilities. That's what you're saying. You got a lot more.
Well,
He's got to pick up the.
you know who y'all need to feel bad for is that guy because he's just
him.
took on a whole lot of responsibility for me because I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot of stuff.
Could be pauses in the show. Intermission break. I got to run upstairs.
Melissa needs something. She's hungry.
Make a
Oh
sandwich.
shit! I didn't take the trash out. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Right.
Right on.
His honey to-do list just went from like this to like. Yeah.
It's more than
Anyways,
laundry now.
It
Is it
is
more than
way
laundry?
more than laundry. No lifting.
Oh man.
So.
All right.
Well, you know you'll have Ron. He
Yeah,
ain't
but I
gonna
can't
leave-
even pet Ron with the hand I usually pet him with.
Dude, he ain't gonna leave you alone.
It's gonna be really awkward.
Mo said to give you a bell to ring.
Oh yes, I like it. I have a really loud voice when I need to, Mo. I'm good.
You could just
Ding ding.
stomp on the floor from upstairs, and
Come up here.
there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Well, let's hope everything goes well for you, Melissa.
Yeah. So I appreciate that, and like I said, Mag, we're totally here, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, speaking of Meg, real quick, I'm sorry we're trying to go, but he was out at Richfield Park last weekend racing with Damon and I, and he raced the first moto, and then his legs started hurting, and that's when the whole medical thing started. He smoked them guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fast.
He's
Just
no
surprised
joke.
me. I was like, holy smokes, he's out front. So
You know
that
the
was
best
pretty cool.
best way to train?
No.
Lose like 30 pounds.
That
That's
helps.
what Mag did.
Yeah. No, it
Well, he
makes
lost
a
all that
difference.
weight, so he's like lighter,
haven't seen
faster.
him in-
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he did look
Months.
quite a bit thinner. It does make a difference though when you lose weight. These people talk about shaving, your bike's this much lighter, that much. Lose some weight, man. Holy cow, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Speaking
You worried
from
about cutting
experience.
down a half a pound? Take a shit before you race.
Well, yeah.
If I had $1 for every time I heard you say that,
Look, when I hear these people,
I could hire somebody to take care of me.
when I hear these people in staging talking about like, oh, rotational weight and this and that, and I'm looking around, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, we're all 40 and plus. I'm like, just go push a shit out, dude. That's like you could, as full as they are. I'm like, that's at least 3 to 5 pounds. Up there, like, oh, you can get this in carbon fiber and that in titanium. I'm like, that's cool. It ain't gonna hold our asses.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
worried about that, but yeah. So, hey, the live stream version of this show, I don't know if they want us to say that anymore. It's brought to you by Mega Design Group. So, if you're looking for a custom tent set up for your team, or hey, just for your family, whatever, you guys need a tent, get a hold of Brian Fell over at Mega Design Groups. He'll take care of you. Our podcast version of the show is sponsored by Dye Job Apparel. You're looking for jerseys for your race team or just yourself, get a hold of Sean over at Dye Job Apparel. He can take care of that. Hey, if you need some t-shirts, anything, you need a mug with your logo on it, get a hold of Sean over at Dye Job Apparel. Other than that, thank you everybody for checking in on us tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We say it all the time, and you hear it every time one of these shows is on. Like and subscribe. It does make a difference, and it really helps us a lot. Please do that. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week when we visit with Dale Holmes. Thank you, Nick Valencia and Bill Ryan, for checking in. Good night, everybody. God bless. I'm going to turn it over to Justin.
Hey, yeah, Mag, get better, because I don't know a damn thing about gearing, and I'm going to need you back to take care of my gears. So get well soon. And to everybody else, you guys, good night. God bless. And as always, Stay classy, BMX.